Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding Metzia Daf Yutes. Shir sponsor Nishma Sam Yaakov Shalom and Leah Basitzchok. We're starting in the Gemara says the word Gufo, which is 7 lines at the top of the page. Going back to the sukkah that we're discussing over here. Gufo. Matzah get Isha b'shok. You find get Isha in the market. If the husband admits Yachzi Leisha, then you give it back to the wife. The husband does not admit that he wrote the get. You don't give the get back, not to the husband and not to the wife. If the husband admits, you give back the Isha. We spoke in the previous daf. We're talking about we're talking about the but if the conditions apply, you give it back. So more why? Maybe he wrote the get on Nisan, but he didn't give it to her until Tishrei. And now the husband's going to come and he's going to sell fruits from Nisan until Tishrei. She's going to bring our get that was written in Nisan, and she will come extract money from the Kulush Lokadin. What does it mean? When a woman is divorced, she is considered to be a lender, like any other lender, right? She deserves a ksuba. Now, the husband wrote a get. The get says that he's divorcing his wife in Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? What is the word Chodesh? Maybe he didn't give it to her until Tishrei, and therefore what? She's not divorced until Tishrei. In the meantime, the husband is going to go and sell properties in Chodesh Iyar, in Chodesh Sivan, Chodesh Tammuz, selling properties. The woman gets to get the Nisan and Tishrei. She goes to the person, she wants to get a ksuba, the husband doesn't have enough money. She goes to the buyer who bought it in Iyar, takes away his karka. He says, I'm before you, I got it in Nisan. But she wasn't divorced until Tishrei. She's not before him. So why do you give back a get to the Isha? Maybe he did not divorce until later. How do you rely on it? Tais points out over here, one of the reasons we're chodesh is because it fell. The same problem we had earlier. The mere fact that it fell on the floor, that shows me that it's not reliable. So the that says, the minute the husband decided to divorce his wife, even though he did not actually divorce her, he right away cannot sell any more her lands. Right away, she has the right to it. So here, even though he didn't give it till Tishrei, but if he wrote it in Nisan, that means he had his mind to sell it, to divorce her. Shopper, then everything is okay. According to Mandoma, that says that the husband does have payers until the time that he gives her the get. Michael and Meimar. What are you going to say there? Says the Gemara, when she'll come to take money for a ksuvo, Amin Allah will tell her, I see Rayo Amos Moto Gito Leoch. Bring her right when you receive the get. We're not going to allow you to take the ksuva just like that without any questions. If you want to come with the ksuva, bring a right when you got the get. Says the woman, why is this different than a regular shtachoyev? Than that we learned earlier in this Masechto. If there is a chayes, lo yachz will give it back. What was the case? As at least one way to explain it. When talk about when the borrower agrees, but still you don't give back because maybe it's a shtar mukdam. Maybe he wrote the shtar in this, so we didn't give it till Tishrei. The katar b'lekush lokadin is going to take it to lokadin. Hostonavi, why don't we say do the same svar we're saying over here? Liad, give it back to him. When he comes to take on money, namely tell him, I see rayo, bring a rayo, emas moto shtorchoy liyotcho. So what is the Gemara saying right now? We just said, how do you give the get back to the Isha? Maybe it's a shtar mukdam. So we're not going to allow her to take the money before she brings a raya when she got it. So use that every time. Use that for shtar chayv as well, the same svara. Bring a raya when she got it. So the Ma'amrei, here, by get, the buyer is going to demand. Why is he going to demand? He's going to think about it. So you know why the Rabbanon gave the get back to the Isha? They don't want her to be a guna. They weren't allowed to get divorced. Hashtakas, Mitra, but she wants now to get a ksuva. Tezu Tesi Raya, she bring a Rayo, Amos want to get Leoda when the get came to her hand. He's not going to come and demand this. Why? What's the reason to give it back to him? The midrash, in order to be gave it. The Rabbanon sat down on the milsa, and before me, the shtar came to, her shtar came before my shtar. Meaning what? What is one saying over here? And this is going back to a say that we spoke about Bava, we spoke about here in the beginning of the sector. Based in, there are certain cases that we say Tanina. We don't say it always. Tanina liasmi, Tanina, there is sometimes say Tanina. In this case, the Gemara understands we don't say Tanina. We have to understand why. That goes into the Sugi Tanina, I can go into it today. But the Gemara knows, in this case, they are not toying for the person. The only one who can protect himself is the person himself. The buyer can come protect himself. It's not everybody say. Show me a raya, the shtar came before me. If he doesn't ask for it, we're not going to protect him. We're not going to be toying for him. He has to toy for himself. It says more like this. By a get, the buyer knows the time. Because we know the get fell. They said, why did we give it back to her? They probably found out that she got divorced. I don't want it to be a guno. They give her back the get. But I don't know when the get got to her. There's no raya when it got to her. The fact that she's only a get is because we weren't allowed to get married. But by shtar chayiv, people, he says, the shtar chayiv got lost. They give it back to him. Why give a shtar chayiv to a lender? To extract money. That's the only purpose of it. So probably if they gave it back to the lender, he probably would want to know what day it was. He's not going to ask questions. By a get, people understand there's another reason to give back the get. The get is given back to the Isha for her to get married. What's the purpose of giving back the shtar chayiv? To be going. He's going to assume probably I gave it back. Probably the gvia was already happened. And probably to figure it out that the timing is correct. So therefore, so more that's the problem. We're not going to time for him. He needs to come himself. By a get, he knows the time. By a chayiv not. That's why by a chayiv I can't give it back, assuming he's going to ask to know what was the date that the chayiv happened. Says the Gemara, Shechur Avadim. Now again, we learned in the Mishnah that if shtar shichur b'eved was found, you give it back to him. Torah b'ana motza shtar shichur b'shuk. You find shtar shichur in the market. It's not sharav moide. If the master agrees that he released the eved, yachzir le'eved. Ein harav moide lo yachzir lo lezev lo lezev. If he admits, so then you give it back to the slave. He doesn't admit, you don't give it back. Not sharav moide yachzir le'eved. If the other is moide, give it to the slave. My same question. Maybe he wrote the shtar to the Eved only in Tishrei and Nisan. He wrote it in Nisan, but he didn't give it until Tishrei. And the slave purchased properties. He's a free man. So he purchased an asset. And the master came and he sold it. Why? Because everybody assumes this guy is a slave. So now he's going to come to because really he wasn't released until Tishrei. So again, what's the case? The shtar shichu says Nisan, but it wasn't given until Tishrei. Chodesh Iyar comes the slave, he buys a property. The Adon sells it. Does the Adon have a right to sell it? Yes, because Komash Kana Evet Kana Rabbi. So the fact that the slave has a karka doesn't mean that the Adon still can sell it. But then comes the Eved and Tishrei and says, whoa. I was already released in Nisan. As I was released in Nisan, the other can't sell my property. So therefore, I'm going to take it out. Look at it. Something more. If you hold that it's a schus for an Evet to go out the cherus, as the one Gittin brings a shito, and we'll bring also a bayit that we learned earlier in our Gemara, in our Masechta. That Eidim, when they sign the shtar, it's already going to him right away. They're mizakir to him, shaper. Very good. So that when the shtar shirch was written to the Evet, even though it was not given to the Evet, Eidim zochin loy, he already he's considered to be divorced, released. In other words, that release in order for the schusim. So he already has the schus of a kinyan in all these things. But if you hold that a slave doesn't want to be released, he likes to have keirus, doesn't want to be a Jew, and he's chayav mitzvahs, he likes the fact that he's a slave. Michael and Meimar says more, same answer we said before. When it comes to extract the money, when you received it, they're going to know the taina. Same thing by a get, they know the taina, because they know that this is different than the case of that that the reason you give the shtar to the Eved in order for him not to be mi'ugun, meaning not to be stuck. There's a purpose to give the shtar to the Eved. So they're going to know the taina, but maybe it came later. It's not for money purposes. Different than choiv. Similar to what we said by a get. Says the more. Diaski matona Torah bonon. We said the Mishnah diatki. What is diatki? Torah bonon. Ezu diaski. Diaski is the explanation of the word is the acronym do te lemekom v'liyois. This will be staying and being. What do you mean staying and being? Staying for what? Shemeis nechoso leploini. Right? So if a person dies, so then he wants to give something to somebody else. Right? Now, so he makes, diatki means a person is a deathbed. He wants to make sure that someone gets a gift. So he writes a diatki, don't tell me it's okay, even though I'm dying, the gift, this will be yours. Matona, what's matona? And matona means that he writes, the gift is from you from today and when I die. And I'm going to explain that in a moment. So then it works. But if you don't say it doesn't work. Meaning, you can't give a gift. The words really asking a question. If you don't write so is that it doesn't work? You can give a gift. When a person was alive, you give a gift. This is shot. What is the case that a healthy man gives a gift, but you treat it like a matas shemir? Meaning that he doesn't acquire it until the giver dies. It says I'm giving it to you today, but it won't be happening until I die. In other words, when it says as we learn in Maseches Gittin, it doesn't mean I'm giving it to you today. Once I die, then retroactively it's yours. So that's the case of Maton. Right? And just to remember, to know, the din is that when a person dies, so it belongs to the one who received it. If it doesn't die, not, because he gave it only once if you have died. But this bari, so work the same way. It says the Gemara, in our Mishnah it says you find these gifts, you don't give it back because maybe he wrote it, but he never gave it to the receiver. Naturally, because he didn't say to give. How much? No, nice. But if he said to give it, you give it. Very meaning. When brings a question, what's the yadkiyoy again? Shtar shibira. Apoitikoyos. Because loshon apoitiki. Loshon shtar shib with a specific article. Umatanis. I'll be shishneim boydin. Even though both the giver and the receiver agree this shtar is a good shtar. Lo yaksi. Don't give it back. Why? You don't give it back. Why you don't give it back? Look at loshon Rashi. Lo yachzir. Shema kasvo lezeh v'lo yimosov. Maybe he wrote it, we didn't give it to him. V'lo zokah v'kaka. V'chos v'kos alach, he wrote another shtar to somebody else. Omos v'lo shtar v'zocha boy. U'balach zoy v'min hasheni v'roitze latet l'rishon. So what he's saying is like this. He wrote a shtar to Reuven. He never gave it to him. He gave a gift to Shimon. He said, I don't like Shimon anymore. I have an idea. I'll give this shtar that I wrote to Reuven, and then I'm going to say, the shtar I gave to Shimon was after the fact. So why you can't give back these documents back to Shimon? I mean, you can't give it back to the receiver because maybe he was never given to the receiver originally, and just now the reason why the giver wants to give it because he wants to take it away from somebody else to give it to. Says the Gemara, Omar Abba Mamemel Loy Kasha. Not a question. Daf Yitesa Ubes. Habe Bori ve'Habe Shchibra. The difference between a Bari and Shchimera. Why there's a difference between a Bari and Shchimera? Because a Bari cannot change his mind, unless he wrote tonight. But a Bari cannot change his mind, and a Shchimera could change his mind. A Shchimera has the right to change his mind. And now the Gemara goes on to explain it. Masnis in the Ketani Almatru Noistim. In our Mishnah says that when you says to him back, give it to him. The Shchimera, the Bar Me'adim, he can change his mind. That means my Kilamema. Well, what are you going to say? What's the problem? Maybe he wrote it to Reuven. Now, what we're going to see now something very interesting in this Amud. With shot. In this Amud, the Gemara is going to speak a very lengthy lashon to explain everything. It's almost like Rashi is writing it. Rashi being a Mefarish. It's Mamish going into all the words. Usually the word is very short, very short, so then you have to go understand what the word means. Here the word is going to be very, very specific with all the details in this Amud. Very interesting. So that's it. Once again, our Mishnah talk about a boy. Now, about a Shchimera. The Bar Me'adu, which we're starting from the third line again. He can change his mind. Maybe he wrote the star for Reuven. He never gave it to him. Then he wrote the Shimon. Gave it to Shimon. Now he changed his mind from Shimon. So, I don't want to give it to Shimon anymore. I don't like it anymore. So therefore, he can change his mind. Now, why can he change his mind? Even about this bori, even give him this bori. Let's say though, the kanafti tarti, the chinafka tarti basraiso, when it comes out, the kinafka tarti, when both stars come out, basraiso zochi, they are out of the kamaisa. The Shchimera can change his mind, even if he gives him out this bori. So he gave it to Shimon first, but then he changed his mind. He's allowed to change his mind. Even about the Shchimera, even if he gave out the Shchimera, Lays from saying that the Basraisa Zochi, the Kahadim, and Kamaisa, again change his mind. Shchimera can change his mind in both cases. Side gives us a Matos Bari, side gives us a Matos Shchimera. Shchimera meaning only when it comes after death, when this Bari is right away. But, mistake. The Matos Bari will be talking about the second one. It doesn't matter if you give the second one as Matos Bari, or, the second one, the second is Reuven. They gave it to him as Matos Bari or Matos Shchimera. Why? Because he can change his mind. He's allowed to change his mind. Now, but we talk about the Bryce who say you don't give it back. Bari. We're talking about Anish Shchimera as a Bari. He can't change his mind. That means, what do we say? Maybe he wrote to Reuven and changed his mind. He didn't give it to him. Then he wrote it for Shimon. He gave it to him. Now he changes his mind again. He doesn't want to give it to Shimon. He wants to give it back to Reuven. I'm not going to be able to change his mind. I'll tell him that I gave it to Reuven, even though I didn't give it to him. Bring back that star. The Kodim, once he takes out the star that has the earlier time, he's going to be Zoicha. So what do we do? We don't give back the star to this person, meaning to Reuven. Maybe you wrote it and you didn't give it. And you gave it to Shimon. Okay, the was repeating, being very lengthy over here. And he changed your mind, so I'm not giving it back to him. Right? So, what is the Gemara saying? We're saying, if you talk about a bori, you give a gift, and what's the chashash? You find a star in the market, don't give it back. Why don't give it back? Because maybe in the meantime you wrote it to somebody else, and now he wants to change his mind. He can't change his mind. If you didn't give it to somebody else, the atum was continuing. You have to lean in shuchin. You didn't give it to somebody else. The kabai is a tasser but you want to give it to Reuven. Save le'ashtuk sovachina v'yav now you can't write a nooks at star. If you didn't write it for somebody else, leisbop seido to kodim zochi. There's no F because he gets it first. So what is Gemara saying? We're saying very simple. A very, very lengthy lashon. Again, very, very mishunadik. Very good. More just explaining itself such a long lashon. But in the first case, talk about a shchimera. Shchimera can always change his mind. So if he always can change his mind, so then let's say that you're right. What's the chashash? He gave it to Reuven, then he changed his mind, gave it to Shimon, and now he wants to give it back to Reuven. He's giving him his original shtar. He has the right to do it. So even if you arrive at this chashash, it's not a problem. Mashayin, when we're talking about this case of the bride, so talking about a bari, if a bari wrote a shtar to Reuven, never gave it to him. Then he gave him a Torah to Shimon. Now he wants to change his mind, he can't change his mind. So if you give Reuven back the shtar, he's going to come and extract it from Shimon and Shloi Kedim. That's why I don't give it back to him. So what is Gemara saying? Shimon could change his mind, so I give it back to him. By a bar, you don't change your mind, so you don't give it back to him. Says the Gemara, when we talk about the Mishnah and the Brayz, it says the word diatki. Diatki we said is the amount of shchimra. That's what it means. Hello, both the Mishnah and the Brayz talk about a shchimra. V'lo ikash. Habe brei. One is talking about him. He's allowed to change his mind. The shchimra. The other one is talking about he already died, and the son wants to change his mind. The son can't change his mind. Most things they call matnu noisim. They say when you give back the shtar to the borrower, the buyer, but it's the shimmer himself. The buyer they can change his mind. The amrina. What do we say? What's the problem? Even if you gave the shimmer the gift, there's no problem. The kamu basur zochi. If you have the first one who got the shtar, the second one the shtar, the second one gets it, meaning Reuven. Then ultimately kamu. He changes his mind. He's allowed to change his mind. Kikatani or Brayso, but in the Brayso when it says, "I will be shishneim moedim lo yafsid lo lezev lo lezeh," don't give it back, not to the giver, not to the receiver. Bebrei. We're talking about the father died, and the son is saying, "No. He gave the first star was given to Reuven." We're saying, maybe the father would have started to Reuven and changed his mind, and he didn't give it to Reuven. Then after the father, then afterwards, then maybe the son came and brought a star to Shimon. And he says, I don't want to give it to Shimon. I'm not going to be able to change my mind after I give Shimon a gift. I'm going to tell him, Emilu will tell everybody, I'm so sorry, my father gave it to Reuven. And basically, they can give him the shtar. And you will go back to Shimon and take it out. And then what? More hands in another kunz. Another point. Why is he doing that? Why the son cares if it goes to Reuven to Shimon? He's plotting around with Reuven. He tells Reuven like this, that my father gave the gift to Shimon. But I have a shtar that my father gave to you, wrote to you. He never gave it to you. He never gave it to you. But it says there an earlier date than the gift that I gave to Shimon. Let's do the following thing. You'll go to Shimon, say that you came first. You take out the land, we'll split it. You know what I mean? That's what will deceive Shimon. That's what Choishish. That's what it says. Going back to Lent and Loshen. This stuff, we're not giving it to him. Maybe the father wrote it, but he gave it. And you gave a gift to somebody else, to Shimon. The God, the baby changing your mind. If the truth is, if I did give it to him, and you never gave it to Shimon, you have an easy solution. Write to Reuven a new shtar. Even if the father did not give it to him, and you gave a shtar, you sold to somebody else, they won't be say the kava bas or kamazoch, because whenever you have two stars, the first one gets it. Meaning, what are they saying? Shimon, if you go to the son of the Shechina, say, I'm so sorry, I'm not giving you back the shtar. I'm not giving the shtar to Reuven. Because we're in Choishish that this shtar was written to Reuven, was never given to Reuven. And in the meantime, you sold the plant, you sold the land to Shimon. And now you give it to Reuven, Reuven's taking out of Shimon. You want to give it to Reuven? Write Reuven a new shtar. If you give something to Shimon before, Shimon will come first because he has an early date. If you didn't sell to Shimon, Reuven will get it. So you won't have the earlier date, you have a later date. But to give it now to Reuven, I'm not going to give. So basically, the two answers of the Gemara are similar, according to the same halach. Or we talk about a case that he couldn't change his mind. If he's able to change his mind, I don't mind if he's saying to give it to somebody else. He's not going to change his mind. So that's very good. But if you say that but if we talk about a case you cannot change your mind, so then once he gave it, it's too late. So the first answer the Gemara we said, let's say that the case you can't change your mind and talk about a bar. So the more that can't be. It says the Yatiki. It says talk about Shtar Shchimera. So the more we talk about in both cases the Shchimera. But the question is if the Shchimera is still alive or not. If the Shchimera is still alive, he could change his mind. So I follow his direction. But we talk about in the Brisa that the Shchimera died, and the son wants to do it. The son I can't trust because maybe again you have this whole plot. And one more time as we end the daf, just to point out this very strange lashonis of the daf that everything is written in a very lengthy lashon, something to me'ayinin. Kol Tov.